She was in Wayne's World, True Lies, and Lilo and Stitch. Then she vanished. Tia Carrere vanished from Hollywood at the peak of her fame. One day she was starring in Blockbusters opposite Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis. The next she was gone. But here's what nobody tells you. She didn't disappear. She escaped. Before we get into what really happened, you need to understand where she came from, because the girl who would become Cassandra Wong in Wayne's World started with absolutely nothing. Born Althea Ray Duhinio Janeiro on January 2, 1967 in Honolulu, Hawaii, Tia grew up riding 2 buses for a 45-minute commute each way to an all-girls Catholic school. The uniforms helped hide the truth. Nobody could tell if you were rich or catching the bus home. She was the latter. Her father worked in banking at the Bank of Hawaii, her mother as a computer supervisor. Filipino and Chinese by descent, Tia dreamed of one thing: singing in a hotel bar in Waikiki. That was the height of her ambition. A steady gig, a microphone, tourists clapping between sips of Mai Tais. Looking back now, she's admitted it actually sounds pretty good. Then everything shattered. When Tia was 13, her father got a banking job in Samoa. The family had a choice to make. Her parents decided to leave Tia behind with her grandmother in Hawaii, believing she'd get a better education there. They packed up her 2 younger sisters and moved across the Pacific. Imagine being 13 years old, waving goodbye to your entire family. But that wasn't the worst part. When her mother and sisters returned without her father, Tia learned her parents had divorced. Her dad had married his Samoan secretary. Suddenly, Tia had 2 half-sisters she'd never met, and a family fractured across thousands of miles of ocean. This wasn't a Hollywood origin story. This was survival. At 18, she entered Star Search, that iconic talent competition that launched careers in the 1980s. She was eliminated in the first round. Another dream crushed. But then something bizarre happened while she was grocery shopping at a Waikiki store. A couple approached her. They happened to be the parents of a film producer. They thought she had something. That random encounter led to her first film role in Aloha Summer. She needed a stage name. Her sister had always called her Tia. She borrowed Carrera from actress Barbara Carrera and changed 1 letter. Tia Carrere was born in a grocery store aisle. Her first real break came with General Hospital, the daytime soap opera that gave her steady work and actual paychecks. She was making $150,000 a year. For a girl who rode 2 buses to school, it felt like unimaginable success. She'd made it. Except her manager was also her boyfriend, and he betrayed her trust. He took everything, all of it. When the relationship ended, Tia found herself with $300 to her name and nowhere to live. She was sleeping in her car in Los Angeles, the same city where her face appeared on television screens in millions of homes. She could have gone back to Hawaii, back to her grandmother, back to that hotel bar in Waikiki. Instead, she stayed. She slept in her car. She auditioned. She fought. By the early 90s, she'd clawed her way back to stability. Then Baywatch came calling. The show was exploding. A role on Baywatch meant job security, steady income, and massive exposure. It was the smart choice, the safe choice. Then she read the script for Wayne's World. Most people don't know this part. Tia turned down Baywatch to audition for Wayne's World. Everyone thought she was insane. Wayne's World was a weird little SNL sketch being adapted into a movie. Baywatch was a sure thing, but Tia read that script and saw Cassandra Wong, a rock singer, a woman who could act, sing, and absolutely rock. She thought to herself, I can think of no one else that can do the acting and the singing and the rocking. But I can. She bet everything on that audition. Wayne's World exploded. It became one of the highest-grossing SNL sketch films ever, pulling in over $183 million on a $20 million budget. Tia performed all her own songs. Her voice is on the soundtrack. Cassandra Wong became iconic. Overnight, the girl from the grocery store in Waikiki was a movie star. She reprised the role in Wayne's World 2. Hollywood was hers. Offers poured in. She worked constantly. True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis. Rising Sun opposite Sean Connery and Wesley Snipes. She was in demand. But something else was happening too. Something the industry didn't want to talk about. She'd walk into auditions and nail the reading. Casting directors would smile, shake her hand, and say the same thing every time. That was really great, but we weren't thinking of going ethnic with that role. Sometimes they'd use a different word, exotic. There was a room full of blonde and brunette all-American girls at one audition. Tia walked in anyway. She killed the reading. They gave her the role on Married with Children. It felt like a victory, but why did it have to be an outlier? Why was being good enough only when they decided to go ethnic? The answer would reshape everything she thought Hollywood could offer her. If you're enjoying this story, hit that like button and drop a comment below. Subscribe to The Unseen Celebrity because what happens next will surprise you. Between 1992 and 1999, Tia made 3 movies a year on average. Wayne's World 2, The Immortals, Call the Conqueror, Scar City. Some were forgettable, some went straight to video. But she worked. She kept moving, because standing still in Hollywood meant disappearing. Then came the films that should have changed everything. True Lies in 1994, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jamie Lee Curtis, James Cameron directing. Tia played Juno Skinner, a deadly arms dealer with style and menace. The film grossed over $378 million worldwide. Rising Sun with Sean Connery and Wesley Snipes followed. These weren't small indie projects. These were blockbusters with A-list talent. But the calls didn't multiply. The offers didn't explode. The doors didn't swing open the way they did for others. Here's what actually happened. Hollywood saw her success and put her in a box. Action girl, exotic villain, ethnic side character. The industry had decided what she was allowed to be, and no amount of talent could rewrite their script. By 1996, something inside her shifted. Hollow Point came and went. Nobody cared. Call the Conqueror followed. Another dud. She'd been chasing Hollywood's approval for over a decade. She'd survived homelessness. She'd turned down sure things for risky bets that paid off. She'd proven herself in comedy, action, and drama. And they still wouldn't see her as anything but a category they had already decided for her. So Tia did something most actors won't do. She stopped playing their game. In 1999, she returned to television, but not American network TV with its narrow casting and constant rejection. She went to Canada. Relic Hunter was a syndicated action-adventure series that cast her as Sydney Fox, a globe-trotting archaeologist. Think Indiana Jones meets Lara Croft, except this time she was the one leading the adventure. The show ran for 3 seasons, 66 episodes. It aired in over 100 countries. Millions of viewers watched every week. Tia wasn't a sidekick. She wasn't the exotic love interest. She was the lead, the hero, the one solving mysteries and saving the day. American critics barely noticed, but audiences around the world loved it. For the first time in years, Tia felt like she was building something on her own terms. Then Disney called with an animated film about a Hawaiian girl and her alien. Lilo and Stitch needed a voice for Nani, Lilo's older sister. It wasn't a glamorous role. It wasn't a red carpet moment, but it was authentic, Hawaiian, real. Tia said yes immediately. Lilo and Stitch became a cultural phenomenon. It grossed over $273 million worldwide. Suddenly, Tia's voice was in millions of homes. Kids grew up hearing her. Parents quoted her lines. The film spawned sequels, a TV series, and an entire franchise. Tia continued voicing Nani across the sequels and series that followed. Voice acting opened a door she didn't know existed. She played Queen Tirani in Duck Dodgers. She guest starred in Johnny Bravo. She built a steady career doing work she loved without the constant battle over her appearance or ethnicity, but something else was happening too. Something quiet, personal, transformative. Tia was reconnecting with music. Not pop music, not rock and roll. Hawaiian music. The music of her childhood. The songs her grandmother sang. The rhythms that felt like home. In 2007, she released Hawaiiana. It featured Grammy-winning producer Daniel Ho on slack key guitar and ukulele. The album was pure, no commercial calculation, no attempt to chase radio play, just honest music rooted in her heritage. It got nominated for a Grammy, Best Hawaiian Music Album. Then, in 2009, she won. Her album, Ikena, took home the award. She stood on that stage holding a Grammy, and for the first time in her career, she wasn't playing a role someone else wrote for her. This was hers. She won again in 2011 for Wanake Aloha, 2 Grammys, not for being exotic, not for being ethnic, for being excellent, for honoring her roots, for choosing authenticity over approval. Her personal life found its rhythm too. She married photojournalist Simon Wakelin in 2002. They had a son, Jude. When the marriage ended in divorce in 2010, most people assumed it was over, but 3 years later, they reconciled. They've been together ever since, living what Tia jokingly calls in sin. It works for them. They co-parent, they support each other. They've built something real outside the Hollywood machinery. Tia became a Girl Scout troop leader. She chaperoned school events. She went on camping trips. The woman who once slept in her car in Los Angeles now had stability, family, and peace. She wasn't walking red carpets every month. She wasn't chasing blockbuster roles. And she was fine with that. Because here's what Tia figured out. Hollywood's definition of success is a trap. The red carpets, the magazine covers, the constant validation. It's designed to make you dependent, to keep you hungry, to convince you that if you're not visible, you don't matter. Tia chose differently, but her story isn't over, not even close. What she's doing now might be the most surprising chapter yet. In 2022, Tia got a phone call that brought everything full circle. Disney was making a live-action Lilo and Stitch. They wanted her back. Not as Nani this time. She'd be playing a social worker named Mrs. Kekoa, a smaller role, a supporting character. Most actors would have felt slighted. Tia saw it differently. She was 55 years old, still working, still part of something she helped make iconic, still representing her culture on a massive platform. That's winning. The film is set to release in 2025. Tia will walk another red carpet, this time without the pressure of carrying the film, without worrying if she's too ethnic or not enough, just showing up as herself, representing Hawaii, honoring a character millions grew up loving. But film isn't where you'll find her most often anymore. These days, Tia performs live. Intimate venues, Hawaiian music festivals, small theaters where people come to listen, not to scream. She's developed a new sound too. Sarah McLachlan-esque songs that blend her Hawaiian roots with contemporary folk. It's music for healing, for reflection, for connection. She's also on Cameo, recording personalized video messages for fans. Some people see that as a step down. Tia sees it as direct connection. No studio executives, no agents taking cuts. Just her and the people who've supported her for decades. She's appeared on Netflix's AJ and the Queen playing Lady Danger, an eye-patch-wearing character that let her be weird and fun. She's guest starred on Never Have I Ever, NCIS, Los Angeles, and Royal Crackers. She takes roles that interest her, turns down ones that don't. Money isn't the deciding factor anymore. In 2023, she walked the red carpet for Easter Sunday, Joe Coy's film featuring an all-Filipino cast. It was one of the first major premieres she'd attended for a starring role in decades. The press asked where she'd been, what she'd been doing, why she disappeared. Tia laughed. I didn't disappear. You just stopped looking. And that's the truth Hollywood doesn't want to admit. The industry didn't make space for actors like Tia, so she made her own. She built a career on her terms. Raised a son, won Grammys, voiced iconic characters, stayed true to her heritage. Here's what makes Tia's story different from most Hollywood cautionary tales. She didn't crash and burn. She didn't fade away. She rewrote the definition of success on her own terms. When Hollywood said she was too ethnic, she embraced it. When they said she wasn't bankable, she found other revenue streams. When they stopped calling, she stopped waiting. The entertainment industry runs on momentum. If you stop chasing it, it stops chasing you. Tia proved there's a third option. Build something sustainable, something authentic, something that doesn't require constant validation from an industry that never fully accepted you in the first place. At 58 years old, Tia Carrere is still working, still creating, still performing. She's not on magazine covers, she's not trending on social media, but she's happy, stable, fulfilled. She's got a son she's proud of, a partner she reconciled with, a Grammy-winning music career, a legacy of characters that defined childhoods. And she did it all without compromising who she was, without pretending to be less Filipino, less Hawaiian, less herself. So what happened to Tia Carrere? Nothing happened to her. She happened to Hollywood. She walked in as a grocery store discovery, left as a 2-time Grammy winner. She survived homelessness, betrayal, typecasting, and an industry built to chew up people like her. And she's still standing, still singing, and still choosing her own path. If you enjoyed learning about Tia's incredible journey, hit that like button. Drop a comment telling us your favorite Tia Carrere moment. And subscribe to The Unseen Celebrity for more stories about the people who refused to disappear when Hollywood moved on. The next time someone asks what happened to Tia Carrere, you'll know the real answer. She didn't vanish. She evolved. She chose family over fame, music over movies, peace over pressure. She built a life that mattered to her, not to tabloids. And in an industry obsessed with staying young, staying visible, staying desperate, Tia Carrere did something truly radical. She grew up, found balance, and proved that success isn't measured by how long you stay on top. It's measured by how well you land when you choose to step down. That's the untold story, not of someone who walked away, but of someone who walked forward. Tia Carrere didn't need Hollywood's permission to matter. She just needed to remember what that 13-year-old girl riding 2 buses to school already knew, that survival isn't about fitting in, it's about finding your way home.